So it's my pleasure to bring back some people who you've met before. So Noel, Allnutt, our CEO, Dave Cowan, who is the CISO of Challenger, Jana Dekanovska, who is from CrowdStrike, one of our sponsors, also Colin Renouf from Helios, the CISO there, and Richard Burke from Ingham's. If you could sit in the order of the slide, that would help people who are asleep for the last of my presentation bits.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Cyber Coaster Showdown. I'm delighted to be on stage here with Richard Burke, CISO of Ingham's, Colin Renouf, CISO of Helios, Jana Dekanovska, the Strategic Threat Advisor, CrowdStrike, and Dave Cowan from Challenger. So, it's a really difficult one, this one, because we're stuck between somebody who's going to jetpack across Australia and beers. So strap yourself in. We're going to keep it nice and quick fire, and if there's any thoughts in the audience, you want to hear it, these guys are ready to go. All right, so we're going to go start with a true or false again. Unfortunately, we don't have ones. I've never thought I'd say this before, but I'm a bit jealous I'm not a wizard today. All right, so true or false? A strong password is enough to ensure cyber resilience.
False.
Colin?
Absolutely, totally, in every way false.
Perfect. You're also mic'd up, you don't need a double mic.
But it sounded quality.
I know you like the sound of your own voice, Colin.
It's the
but two
medication.
mics is
He had FOMO.
So I really like to argue, so I was really hoping I can find an angle to say yes, but unfortunately I couldn't think of one, so false.
Yeah, and with news of 20 billion credentials for sale on the dark web, it's definitely false for me.
Well, there you go. I don't think we'll have any arguments around that one. All right, next up. True or false? Regularly updating software and systems is not necessary for cyber resilience.
Double negative, but true. Colin, OT, fellow OT victim.
Yeah, OT victim, we're not allowed to often update things. So OT, we have to go through regulators' approval for, so doesn't help that much, so false.
Okay.
I'll have to say true, because I'm an Intel analyst, and as an Intel analyst, you know, I know that vulnerabilities is one of the biggest ways that threat actors are using in their initial access method, so true for me.
Okay, thank you. And Dave?
And the key word's not necessary, so I'm going to split the panel and say it's false. I think it is necessary, because I think every little bit helps, right? So you've got to do the basics, good hygiene, so it's definitely false for me.
Getting into the semantics there, Dave. I like you to get your case like a good CISO with business cases. All right, next up, the question. It's a bit of a trivia round. All right, so what's the biggest loop-the-loop challenge that cyber leaders face when implementing cyber resilience strategy? All right, so there's three options there. Oh, there's four options. Sorry, I've got to peer over. Getting the necessary budget approvals, ensuring employee adherence to cyber policies, keeping up with the constantly evolving cyber threat landscape, and D, compliance with various legal and regulatory compliance. I'll start with you, Colin. A, B, C, or D?
It's a mix of C and D. A, we're regulated, so OT, sometimes we're not allowed to update, but genuinely, whilst I'd like to be able to say we can keep up with the constantly evolving cyber threat landscape, every single night we're awake with new 0 days, new vulnerabilities, but D stops us off from patching for them.
Okay.
So that's me.
Thank you. Bit of a mix of C and D there. I don't know what the rules are, but I'll let you have two answers for that one. It's okay. We're not in a competition. Richard, what would you say?
I'm going to lean on B, I think, because I think the organisational change stuff is the hard stuff. Is in my experience anyway. But and I think, yeah, that's just ongoing, and so a lot of the other bits are quicker wins sometimes.
Yeah, good stuff, Jana.
It's a losing battle because you have invited an Intel analyst, so whatever you'll ask me, I will just steer back to Intel. So absolutely C. Yeah. You cannot, protect something that you don't know what it's attacking it. So you have to start with the threat landscape.
Okay.
Continue.
Sticking to your guns. I like it. Dave?
B, and again, I'll go to some sort of small detail here. The biggest loop, the loop. So every staff member, you all do it. You do your annual compliance training. You say you've read and acknowledge all the security policies, yet you haven't. You haven't read them. You just tick the box. And then you've got a technical person who brings a server out of a box, plugs it in, and off they go with production. So that they're not really following what the standards and the policies and procedures are saying, but it's all there plain black and white. So the loop is that everyone says they've read the policy, but no one does. So B.
B. There we go. You might have broken a few hearts there for some people with attention to details or some server administrators, but you've got to stick with your answer. All right, trivia round number 2. Which of the following scenarios is most likely to cause a dip in an organization's cyber resilience? A, failure to regularly update and patch systems. B, a lack of comprehensive incident response plan. C, inadequate employee training and awareness. And D, all of the above. Start with you, Dave. We'll go back the other way.
The simple answer would be D, but I'll go with C again because it's staff that can undo all your good work. They could just be having a bad day and undo the controls that you've put in place. So C.
Here we go. Jana?
Yeah, I'm going to go with C as well, because as you said, you can do a really good technical, robust controls, and then it really is with the people that are burnt out or they don't really necessarily understand or want to understand cybersecurity that, can win it all with one.
Humans are the weakest link. Colin?
I'll go with a slightly modified C and motivations.
C and motivations.
Yeah, inadequate employee training and awareness, and sometimes motivations. If there are stronger motivations to do something that would normally compromise, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. We do healthcare. If our motivations are, I can follow the security rules, or I can save a person's life, they're going to save the person's life. So, but it does cause us problems for cyber resilience.
Yeah, great answer. It's not always as black and white as the answer might seem. Rich?
Change up for me. I'll go B. I think if you don't have a solid response plan, like controls are going to fail. They fail all the time, including people, awareness, patching, anything else in that realm. If you don't know how to respond to that, then you might be out of business in an extreme event, right? So that's pretty low resilience if you're out of business. So I'm going to go with B.
B. Good stuff. A nice mix of answers there. I like it. And nobody went for the obvious one, all of the above, even though we know it's an obvious one. Scenario round. Here we go. All right. I think we need some. Some
X on it.
Some things like that. Awesome idea. Guy with a broken arm, making him draw stuff. This is going to be a thrill.
This could be hard.
Yeah.
I'll have a go.
The prize is a watch at the end of the day.
You'll be all right there, Colin. I don't want any
I'll
kind
have a
of
go.
workers' comp claim on Sekuro. Just got our cyber insurance. All right. Scenario round. You're at the peak of the roller coaster, a critical point in your cyber resilience strategy, and you discover that a key security control has failed and there's a major cyber attack. Draw an emoji or a picture that best describes how you would be feeling. I'll give you a couple of seconds there. There's Dave's emoji there. It looks a bit shocked. Yep, there's a ghost, topical.
No, it's the one that kind of melts, the one that melts.
Oh, like Casper the ghost or something?
I'm not as good at drawing as I am at Intel, but it's the one that melts.
Okay, the one that melts. I can't give you more than that, but apparently it's the one that melts, and it's pretty disappointing. Colin, let's have a look what you've got there.
Very angry.
It's a
very, very angry and sad person.
a very don't fancy Pictionary at your house at Christmas. What about yourself there, Rich?
It's just a bit of a standard eye roll because, of course, that's when it's going to happen. So.
Yeah,
No surprises, really.
Yeah, no surprises from the size. Once again, people have been let down.
I've got to explain. So my eyeballs, the pupils are dilated, and there's normally three reasons for that. In this one, it's fight or flight. It's the adrenaline. It's not the other two. And the reason is because of the scenario, you want to stay calm and overcome the reaction that's happening in your brain. And the hairs are up on an end there because it's the fight or flight moment that you've found out a key control's failed.
There you go. Deep. Out of interest, the other two reasons why your eyes would be like that?
Drugs is one of them.
Yep.
I'm no police officer, but they do look for... And I think the other one is some medical situation in your body.
All right.
So something is going on, you might want to get that checked.
There you go. If Sizer doesn't work out for you, the police force might. All right. Thank you very much for your good drawings. Now, there's going to be a bit more drawing, so you're going to have to use your board wiper to get that off there. All right. So, strategy deep dive. So we can hold off on the drawing for a little bit longer. Getting into a bit more of a kind of serious resiliency conversation and strategy here. I'll start with yourself, Richard. If you can, guys, just give us a good, succinct answer here. But what's your first step in developing a cyber resilience strategy?
I think making sure you've got a determined risk appetite that's understood. There's no point in developing a cyber resilience strategy that's going to be a Rolls Royce if all you need is, a Commodore, if they still make those. I don't think they do. But risk appetite, start there and work down.
Yep. Relevance to where the business is at. Colin?
I think you just said it, relevance to the business. So understand the business. I've worked in a number of companies with OT, and you often get traditional 4-tier consultancies, the 4 big consultancies come in and say, IT, big thing, you need to worry about your data. Actually, in healthcare and transport, they don't really care about the data too much. You just don't want to kill people. So separate the business. If you don't understand the business, what's the point?
Yeah, great answer. Jana?
Can you guess my answer?
Is it going to be CrowdStrike analyst type based? I'm going to have a little guess at that one.
Yeah, so risk appetite, understanding your business, and then of course, understanding your adversaries, right? Yeah. Because you have to understand your adversaries before you can protect them against them. Yeah. There's a number of different adversaries out there. Some of them are opportunistic, so they target all of you. Some of them are nation state, they're very focused, hacktivists, etc. And just to give you an example, all I know is CrowdStrike, so CrowdStrike-based example, we track 200 plus adversaries on a, that's how many. I think it changes every day. I think it's about 220 at this particular moment, and they are with different spectrum of motivations and different geographic location as well, right? So if you're a business in Australia that operates in healthcare industry, the adversaries that are going after you are going to be very different from a business that operates in Malaysia. Good example would be something like an adversary from Latin America. They're very active, but they're not necessarily, we have never seen them in Australia. So protecting against tradecraft that they're using would be a waste of your time. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would start.
Fantastic. Know your threats and build accordingly.
Yes.
Good stuff. Dave?
This one's close to my heart. I've actually just changed roles. I'm 3 months in after 10 years at a previous role. And for the first month, so the first step was just to listen. No solutions, don't come up with any preconditions or any sort of ideas. Just listen to people, understand the business, and work your way around. Meet the people, meet the team that you've got as well and their capabilities. So my notepad is very full, because one thing a lot of people told me is always write down your observations early on, because you'll go back to those once you've been in a position for a while, and just make sure, have you corrected some of your initial observations?
Ooh, nice. Seek to understand and then do that. And you do have that common approach, Dave, that you can
try, but it's very hard. You want to actually try to go to solution mode straight away. But I did check the dark web on day 31, so I did go into the threat analysis.
You have to check that every day.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't want to initially, but I did.
Yeah. I'm pretty disappointed. I put 4 friends on stage here and I teed you up for bring Sekuro in and they'll sort it out, but fair enough. Each to their own. We'll go looking for some others. All right. How do you ensure that the human and cultural elements are integrated into your cyber resiliency strategy? Start with you, Dave. We'll go back the other way.
Look, I've always had this policy, and we don't actually have an office anymore in this day and age, do we? But have an open door policy. Let anyone come to you and ask questions. Don't get angry if it's a very simple question that you've told them 3 or 4 times. And I'm talking about staff, operations, business leaders, not only technical people. Just have an open door. If you're engaged with the business and people know that they can come to you, they're going to learn more. You're going to be more approachable. And that way you've got that connection with the business and the operational staff that are probably the most risky users in your organization. So just be accommodating and give them your time.
Yeah, nice. Jana?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer. I think we've established before that human element is something that we're probably most worried about. And, not at CrowdStrike, but in my previous lives, I've seen that it's really hard to actually engage employees on a consistent basis without them just drifting away and forgetting about it. So I think my answer here would be to make it fun. Go to the Luna Park.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Bring everyone to a Luna Park and do some awareness training. Take them on the rides. There we go. There's a business model. Colin?
I was going to say get everyone drunk.
Before or after the training?
Throughout.
Another business model.
I'm really tempted to say the X-Files approach of trust no one. But I firmly believe education and motivations. Remember that there are going to be some people that will be motivated to go against these strategies and understand why. And educate everybody else to death until they're bored and it's ingrained.
Nice. Consistency. I like it. Richard?
I kind of read this as organisational change management being embedded and understood throughout your cyber strategy and your program. So where we kind of started is at least teach your cyber people and your IT teams what good change management is and what the human and cultural elements are that they should be considering as they're kind of undertaking the program. So I think that's a key element to kind of getting that buy-in, why it matters to begin with, and that's worked for us so far.
Yeah, nice. Buy-in's incredibly important, isn't it? If you're going to take those people on the journey, and it's a tough thing to get, right? If you're not in that deep understanding of where the business is going. All right, strategy deep dive. Final question of this: how do you ensure continuous improvement and adaptability in your cyber resiliency strategy? Let's start in the middle. Colin, I'll start with yourself.
Learn, and watch. If you don't monitor what's actually going on in the organisation, how can you respond to it?
Yeah. Jana?
Drill. I think crisis management in cyber and anywhere else depends on the process. So that would be my one word. Just make sure that your process is really up to date and it's very good. You continuously drill into it and practice it so that you're ready.
Dave, you've got to start with the same word 3 times. Choose it carefully.
Monitor. The boring answer for this one would be you do control testing, you find gaps, you go through the strategy and roadmap, but I'm not going to give you the boring answer. Every morning I brush my teeth and I think about 3 things I'm going to ask anyone in the organization to improve the posture, and they are it's the marginal improvements, the consistency every day, the little things that make a big difference. If you're consistent, and it doesn't seem a lot of work for them, so they'll do it because it's bite-sized chunks, really small things. That'll get you continuous improvement.
Okay.
Yeah, all those answers as well, and the boring stuff matters. Have metrics so you know you're actually improving, so you can measure that you are improving. And test, drill, 3 words at a time, all those things. But I think CI is definitely a cultural element in an organisation as well. So it takes time to embed that in people's day jobs through change processes and that kind of thing. So I think it's a bit of a cultural thing that you need to drive in the organisation over time.
Nice.
Can I have one more based on that? And that is, don't go too far until you're ready. Based on what I mentioned about some clever people updating Grafana today to go and get keys far too many times and taking out some systems. So only adapt when you really understand that you're ready for it.
Nice. I think it's really important advice actually to make sure that you go step by step, and it is a kind of potentially a linear journey that you've got to go on and not miss a step. Right. Well, look, these are the end of the questions. I've got a couple of minutes left. Nick Flood did say get a move on, and I think we've done that and provided some quality answers in the way. Does anybody from the audience have any questions? Last couple of questions for this audience before we fly into Helly Jen's presentation. Anyone? I did say we were between a jetpack and beers, so I can see the people have voted with their lack of questions. I just want to say thank you very much, guys. It's awesome to have you up here on stage. To all of the speakers who've kind of been on the panels today, thank you. Before I go to hand to Helly Jen, I also want to thank Jeff Sheard from Sekuro. He's been tirelessly getting the Sekurians trained up with some public speaking and putting all the nerves at rest. So I want to say thanks to Jeff, and I want to say thanks to the panelists now, and hand over to Helly Jen. Thank you.